Alrighty, Roo, and cuckoo Kachu to you, and all my nobodies not watching out there. Coming back to it, I took a few days off or whatever. I did get distracted, but I do want. I watched this, and I want to do a second playthrough rather than just finish. I don't know what finish would do. If that'll just like show me the end, because I feel like I already kind of got the end. Like a synopsis of what just happened is effectively the game was a lot shorter than I expected. The movie was a lot shorter than expected. Um, the character I played through was supposedly, I mean, they don't let you know this until way end, so that's why this is going to come after all those other ones. So there'll be like a whole sequence of events where it's like, okay, you know, when I put these out, people will know that, oh, you start and you continue through the whole thing, rather than starting a whole new playthrough. It'll be a second playthrough like it is. But basically, it seems like the sister of this guy poses as him, infiltrates a nightclub, and does herself a good bit of murder, trying to make it seem as though somehow that her brother has come back from the dead, who was said to be all self-killed, and because he was a courier of the chemicals and such, and basically, I don't know yet why that all happened. I imagine other playthroughs will give me more information, but that's basically what happened. And then she, immediately after escaping and causing all this havoc, and tying up who was the girlfriend of the brother, or at least they were something, or dating or something. She ties her up and sets her to a chair where it's like, when whoever enters this will be shot by a shotgun, like the shotgun he steals. Like that was a little bit of a suspension of disbelief for me, because it was like, really? He didn't send a goon in first. He just went in first. And it's like, I know that it's like he wanted whatever was in this thing to be like, oh, it's like special. It's like, this is where we hide the stash. And that's one reason why she was like, no, you don't need to check this. Like, you don't need backup. You don't need the stash. It's like, don't. Like, she kind of like controlled the conversation and stuff. So so some random goon wouldn't do that. So I guess it still seems stupid that he would open the door by himself, but maybe he needed them so that when the stash was revealed, they would just be like pew pew, and then that would take them out. But that was a lot of faith on their part. That, I don't know, I feel like a random goon with a gun ready to go off at the right moment would be spooked by their boss, by a shotgun going off in front of them, shooting their boss. That would probably, like, they would probably just pull the trigger out of just reflex. So not great. But then the guy that came with her, who I do admit this, at the time I thought he was like an inside job man. He was not. He came with her. He was part of her like basic bodyguard, and he John Wick the two of them, and yeah. And then they show us an After Effect thing where it's like, oh, well, one reason why she involved the girl is because she went out of her way to be like, hey, this, like, I'm here as a reporter, blah, 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 blah. Because apparently they never even met each other, or she just had a decent enough disguise. And the girl was just like, her brother's girlfriend, who was involved with the whole club thing, was like so callous about it, like, oh, I barely knew him. Oh yeah, no. So yeah, no. It's like, well, I think that's what people who deal in chemicals deserve, don't you? And she's like, thank you so much. It's like, now I'm going to involve you and traumatize you. Like, before I would have left you be if you had some sort of compassion for my brother. Instead, now you're getting involved. Like, I want you to watch, like, this is poetic justice. It's like, because he sort of does kind of kill it. Her dad does sort of self-killy because he opens the door. Now it's a booby trap and blah 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 blah, but like, she has to see the parallel. Although she's probably not smart enough to remember the talk, but it's funny for her, the main character that we play, that's both the person and the not. So I'm gonna try my second playthrough and see how it goes. But I think I will just end it real quick, just as this is my transition between the two playthroughs. Because, I don't know, I liked it. I liked it a lot more than I liked the other one. The other one had a much longer story, a lot more in depth, and like I said, a lot of the complaints I had with the first one, I don't even remember what it's called. It was just like, it was a full ass length movie, and you just had to sit with a controller in your hand, and you never knew when anything would happen. And sometimes there'd be like 4 choices, and you'd have to do an action, and you would have a very limited amount of time to do anything. And it's like, it gets hard to remember to be ready at all times. And here it was like 2 choices, and there weren't any like in the other one. I remember there were times you had to do something. Like, what comes to mind is like, you had to turn on like a lighter, like a Zippo. You had to like flick your thing in a way. There was like a button thing you had to like do to like flick the Zippo, and it like made a huge difference. And I think there were more outcomes in that one, but the story itself just wasn't as entertaining. And here it felt like every choice I was making, I was probably going to fail, but I still got to the end anyhow, and maybe it was a good choice or not. But I couldn't tell, and then I got to where I am, and I don't know if this is like the best outcome or the worst outcome, or it's really not about best to worst. It's just an outcome, baby. It's just about the game. But the fact that I was able to do it so fast was pretty cool, and I like that, and that it was engaging. Like, as opposed to, there were long periods of time in the other one, which, again, I don't know if I had posted those or if I recorded them and thought they were too boring to post, because it took so long. I think I just, before I even started my channel, like really actually started doing anything on it, I recorded some, and then I was just like, these are just kind of boring. I just don't wanna, like, not good enough. But I might have. I just don't think I did. Or maybe I did and I just never put them in a playlist. I honestly have no idea. At any rate, I'm going to end this just because this was just sort of like my sort of recap of what happened before I get into my second playthrough, because I do want to do that. So I'm going to move it to that. So yeah.